Man.
Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Dubs. I'm your host, Bill T. Well, it's 2 weeks left to go until One Crazy Weekend. If you haven't booked your room and got your spot, you better get on the stick because things are flying out the door and it's going to be bigger and better than ever. On this week's podcast, I've got Joey Girodano from Werkstat Restoration, the winner of last year's event, and also I've got Tory Alonzo from The Bug, the movie, and also you may remember him from previous podcasts. So
you probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a Volkswagen. It's got everything that people who like the Bug like.
guys, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us, man. Good to be back.
Absolutely, Bill T. Always a pleasure, man.
Joey, let's start with you first. Last year, you took the top prize at the at One Crazy Weekend last year. Tell us a little bit about that experience and what how you're shaping up for this year.
Yeah, showed up. Last year was my first year. I mean, we've done the podcast years ago, and I've been trying to make this event, and I was finally able to make it last year. Came out with a 60 convertible that, I kind of sprung it on everybody. Ended up taking home the prestigious Buddy Hale Award. I won People's Choice Award and pulled the best hand for the poker run. So, man, it was probably the best weekend I've ever had car-wise. And then the car after that became known as the Triple Crown Vert. And that was dubbed from Alex from Platform Media since we won all three elements of the show.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. I mean, I don't know if you could ever duplicate that again to get so lucky to win the best poker hand as well. I mean, that's like a cloud nine type of weekend, right?
Yeah, that and I'm that guy, and too, that never happens for me. And I mean, it was one of those things in your face. When we pulled that card, it was epic time, dude. Really great time.
I know that was absolutely wild. Tory, I know you're working on something special for this year's show. I know that Joey's working on a couple things, and then Tory, you're working on something too. Tory, what have you been working on?
Oh my gosh, man, we are so busy. I literally just flew back from Reno. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, Steve Connect, who arguably one of the best custom VW builders of all time, especially from the 80s. You know him from cars like Rodbuster and Shockwave, the Future Shock notchback that you now own, other notchbacks that were in the magazines. This guy's built some crazy stuff. Last year, after One Crazy Weekend, we both decided to do one last hurrah, and I found a car that Chris Addington had stored away since the 80s. It was a project that, ironically, Steve Connect had started at Volksworks back in like 1985, 1986. The guy ran out of money, and the car just sat. Chris Addington bought it from him and sat on it, and I believe the plan was to build that car for Betty Addington, Chris's wife, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. So Chris decided to sell it. And what's funny is on Bob Daniels' 80s Facebook page, I'd seen that car pop up a couple of years ago. I know when you went out to go see Chris Addington for the podcast that you did with him, you actually saw that car in person. And it's pretty wild because it was like a white 60 convertible. It's a factory convertible. Had like purple and pink kind of triangular graphics on the side, very 80s. Already had the suicide doors with the hidden hinges done. So, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff on SKS fiberglass dash, really cool stuff. But like, there were no takers on the Facebook page. And what's funny is, we were all hyped up on the 80s stuff last year at One Crazy Weekend just because we all kind of came up the same time in the 80s, and that's kind of our jam is 80s cars. And so when we all started talking about doing another build-off, because Russell's Gia was so much fun, I was like, man, that's the perfect car. I wonder if Chris still has it. And I kid you not, this is funny. I was literally talking to Bob about that car, and it popped back up on the 80s page. Chris had reposted it literally the day that I asked Bob, hey, have you seen that car get listed again? It was just meant to be one of those weird serendipitous moments. So I immediately struck a deal with Chris Addington. ironically, this all ties together because Bill, you remember I went and picked that car up in Prescott, Arizona.
Right.
I trailered it up to your place. Then we loaded up Andy Finch's car in Dia and then dropped this convertible off at Steve's house. And then went over to Joey and dropped off Andy and Dia, which is a nice segue into the cars that we're doing for this year. But yeah, we've been working on that car since November. I've been flying back to Reno where I can, when Steve works his magic and then he wants some mechanical stuff done, then I'll fly down there and help him with some stuff like that. But yeah, I literally broke in the motor like 2 days ago, broke in the cam. It sounds nasty. It's a thick wall, 1835, 48 IDAs, a Stinger, very 80s motor. It sounds amazing. Like we're getting really close. And now it's just all the little piddly stuff, trying to button up all the things that, tying up loose ends. And, we had an AN fitting fail as I'm breaking in the cam. So it decided to, leak oil everywhere. So of course it's not a project unless you have to rip half of it apart again, once everything's in and pretty and nice. And so we had to do that and replace an oil fitting and, just the typical stuff. It wouldn't be a show car without that. But yeah, no. I'm excited. There's so much to talk about with that car. I can't even begin to tell you, the process and the journey it's been.
Yeah. I think from the pictures that I've seen of it, I think people that don't understand the 80s type stuff will kind of get an idea for what that time and era was like with cars, the amount of detail and work that goes into that type of stuff, especially the things that he was building. No, I'm excited to see that project getting built. When I had that car, I posted a picture of it on my Instagram and it had, it like a wannabe PPI graphics on the side from like the PPI series amplifiers in the early 90s, late 80s. So yeah, no,
totally.
It's going to be exciting this week. And then Joey, you're working on a couple projects as well, right?
Yeah, I got a couple things I'm bringing out. Like Tori said, I'm bringing that Gia that you guys dropped off for Andy, which, I have mad respect for what Andy does. He's just a great guy, good attitude. And to be able to have this opportunity to do this car for him is an honor. We have this pack, just like with you. I think Bill is the same thing, is he doesn't get to see this car until I deliver, I bring it out for Vegas. And so I've done, he's kind of gave me his platform. He sent the interior over from the UK with a bunch of cars, Recaro seats, all the 80s, jam stuff. And then, there's a few open opportunities for me to kind of throw my flair in it. So, it's just monochromatic, everything's one color, kind of vibe. And the car's coming out fantastic, man. And just when you think you can't put enough you think you're putting too much of one color on something, you just add more. The thing's just coming to life. So, it's fun, man. And then I got something else I might pop out. You know me, I like to surprise everybody. So, and then I'm also, I got we talked earlier today, Bill, and I got the honor of putting my vert on display in the casino as long as the fire marshal agrees to that.
Yeah.
And so I listened to the podcast, heard there was some issues with that, but at the end of the day, man, it's just, it's just fun to put stuff out there and just let people see what's going on. And, I'm looking forward to seeing Tori's car. That thing's off the charts. And then, there's going to be a mad dash to build another car. And, I'm hoping to get there the weekend before and team up with Andy, and we just kind of go mad building this car that, the one crazy 68. So.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, and that's being built for Bob Daniels. Bob actually going to be here Monday, and he's going to start kind of thrashing on that car. I think Andy shows up Tuesday, and these guys are going to be just going at it, trying to get Bob's 68 done. So there's lots to go with that. So it should be a pretty interesting, an interesting week of events. There's 2 weeks to go until One Crazy Weekend, and a bunch of that stuff's coming out. So there's definitely going to be a handful of 80s cars here, and a lot of show cars. Been getting a lot of interest with the heavy hitter section as far as people coming out and going for best of show for $1,000 prize. And then there's lots going on this year with the advent of the poker tournament. I don't know if you guys saw the reel we put out with VW Trends, but I'm actually pretty excited for the poker tournament. It's going to take place on Thursday. So those of you guys who don't know how to play poker, brush up on it so we can all play, because it's the best $40 you'll ever spend to be able to play cards with a bunch of guys, and we got space for up to 80 people to play. So hopefully people get on the website, go to letstalkdubs.com and RSVP. So I'll put your name down, because I've got to let the dealer know, or I've got to let the poker room manager know before a couple of days before, so she can staff enough dealers to cover it. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And then the bowling tournament with Ross Wolf and Clyde Berg on Friday. That's happening. And then obviously Saturday, the car show, and then the poker run Saturday afternoon. So, man, it's shaping up. We're getting a lot of people. I got Skinner's Classics is coming out. He texts me, says, hey, I'm coming out for the event. A lot of those guys up in the NorCal area, sometimes they've been doing a show on in Santa Cruz on the pier. And that's a lot of those guys are used to that, because that's kind of their area. But I think he's going out on a limb and coming out to our show this year. There's a lot of people coming out for a first time this year, and I think they'll be pleasantly surprised with the weekend, because it's not just a car show. It's it is literally an experience. And this year, with us relocating the show to the very front parking lot of the hotel, I think that's just going to be even crazier. The drive-by traffic's 40,000 cars a day, so it should be pretty wild. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about the cars you guys are working on. I know I've got a car that I've got to get in the paint shop here next week, and I'll probably strip it down on Saturday and get it ready to roll over to paint shop. I got wheels off the powder coat. Drivetrain, everything's already done, so this just can be a cosmetic restoration. Basically, blow it apart, paint it, put it back together, and call it a day. So
how'd the seats turn out, Bill? Have you gotten the seats back yet? Because
Nope.
I love the door panels on that car.
Yeah, the upholstery guy sent me pictures of the seat this week, so he should be stitching them up this week, and so I'll get those back. And
nothing like last minute, right? I mean, it's so funny. Like, we've all had these
boom.
cars for how many months, and it's like right down to the wire, and like literally all these cars are getting painted this week. I know AFTERSHOCK just got painted like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming down to the wire.
Well,
but
Joey,
you know what? It's all gonna work out.
You're putting Andy's car in paint. You're painting it today, or you're prepping it today?
No, actually, I painted it on the 7th. I did post a picture of it in primer, but I kind of been just leaking stuff out. But me, Bill, I'm always going, and being a business too, I'm still trying to work on client stuff. So I've been a little lax as far as putting the progress of that car out, because I got to be really careful so Andy doesn't see what's going on with that car.
Right.
He calls me and FaceTimes me. I'm like, man, I got to make sure I don't point it to where he can see the freaking car. But it's been a mad dash. I mean, literally, I mean, I know, Tori, you've been in the same boat. We're working, we're 16, 18 hours a day trying to get these cars done. At the end of the day, we're happy to do it. It's a sickness, I'm telling you. And I'm just, I got a fantastic wife that supports what I'm doing, and she goes with it, man. She brings me a cocktail, smiles, and then it works out great, man. It's a fantastic time. But
that's such a good point too, Joey, because my fiance, she's the same way. Like, we ran into a couple snafus with AFTERSHOCK. I was originally supposed to come back last Sunday night. And, I called her and I was like, look, this happened, and we've got to sort this out before I can come back. I can't just leave Steve, holding the bag with this. And she was like, do whatever. I know, how much this car means to you, and, what you need to do to get it done for the show. And like, she's been so supportive. So that's huge, man. Like that, if you have someone in your court that's holding you down like that means the world. And that's really, she earns a spot on the show sign for sure, because without her, this wouldn't have been possible. So yeah. And honestly, our sponsors have been fantastic too. I just want to give a shout out to MP and to Profix and Automotive Arts Paint. Like, man, they really came through for us. If I need something, I can literally just email MP and they've got it in the mail, sometimes overnight to me the next day, which has really been a huge help. And
for sure.
the paint on the car is just unreal. I mean, I'm so excited for everyone to see it. And I'm kind of like how Joey's been. It's like, you've got to be careful. Like, AFTERSHOCK is basically together at this point. We have a few little, odds and ends to finish up on the interior and put the stereo back in. But for all intents and purposes, Steve and I pushed the car outside the other day and took pictures of it. And I mean, it looks done. And it's been so hard to not just blow up, social media with pictures of this car. Cause I wanted to, I want to literally surprise people with this car. It's not as fun if everyone's seen it on social media before, they debut it. And that's kind of what was cool about the 80s is, these guys would build these cars and kind of keep them a secret, and then they'd drop them at the Jamboree or at the SCS Showdown or Johnny's Show for Gold. And, you know, they didn't have social media back then. So, like, people were seeing these cars for the first time. There was no teasing unless you actually physically went to the shop that they were being built at. So it's going to be really cool to kind of stay true to that, you know, and not have anybody see the car before we actually take it to Vegas. And I'm so stoked, man. I can't tell you how excited I am.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the debuting of the cars, because really, you know, anymore that's what really makes it cool, is to have a spot where they debut, and the day they debut, they'll be all over social media, I'm sure, because last year for 2 weeks after One Crazy Weekend, that's all I saw was One Crazy Weekend post, just people from being at the show. I mean, I was blown away by so many people posting about One Crazy Weekend last year. But it was like, it's such a different event and a different vibe than all the other shows that they have. And I think it's only something that can happen in Vegas. You know, it's like, you know, with walking out of the casino and right there's a huge car show out in the front. You know what I mean? That's just going to be over the top, you know? So I'm really looking forward to this year, especially with the events that we added, you know, the poker tournament and the bowling tournament. I know there's a bunch of guys that are excited for the bowling tournament, a bunch of guys that are excited for the poker tournament. So I'm trying to make sure I've got all my ducks in a row so I can enjoy the event, and we can make sure that we've got people situated as far as getting everybody parked and stuff. So hopefully everybody shows up in the morning to get pre-registered. If you're not, I mean, the best thing to do is get pre-registered, you know, go online and pre-register. So that way, when you roll up, your name will be on the list, you'll get your credentials, and you'll get to park your car, versus like having to track somebody down to take your money and do that stuff, because we're not going to just be manning the whole thing like, you know, 24/7 with somebody there waiting to take your money and all that stuff. So my suggestion is that you guys, everybody pre-register that can. So this way we've got you prepaid. You're all situated. You'll come up, you'll give your name, you'll get your credentials, and you'll get to pull your car right in. So that's the
I'm so excited, man.
Yeah, it's the best way to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, the element
it's
of
funny, you know, I was even checking, I was, Bob Daniels and I were talking the other day, like, I think there's like 10 or 15 80s cars here. I mean, I don't think you will have seen this many 80s cars since the Grand National Roadster Show all in one place. Because I brought Bad Temper a couple weeks ago. You were nice enough to store it at your house for me, so I'll have that car as well. I know Russell Ritchie, every week it seems like he buys another 80s car to have at the show, which is crazy. I mean, there's going to be, it's going to be like going back in time to Southern California in the mid 80s. It's going to be mad.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. Well, a couple of things. I want to piggyback on the element of just the show and the dynamic. I mean, we talked about when, you know, we did our podcast with the Revival, just basically talked about, you know, the classic. And the element of the classic was basically the hotel was the car show before the car show. And that was a great part of it. And that was the host hotel was a big part of that atmosphere and that energy. And to have it, the event that you put together with the hotel hosting, and you've got, you know, I tell people all the time, so it's like you go to a car show, but then you're like, man, I'm done being in the sun. I'm going to go hang out by the pool. Then there's VW people. I'm going to go grab something to eat. There's VW people. Then you go back and, you know, you go to the bar and you have shots and there's more VW people. And you just get to meet these people. Social media has been a great thing. And to like start meeting people face to face and just kind of, you know, connect with them. It's a whole different element of just the car culture and what we're all part of. And, it just makes it a blast. And you know, the 80s thing, some people don't get it. Like, you know, they were talking, there's Johnny, he's like, I just don't get this stuff. But at the end of the day, I mean, Tory, you hit it spot on, Tory. These cars are, and that's what created a lot of the, you know, my inspiration for just wanting to build cool stuff. And, you know, that was, you know, I didn't have the money back in the day to build show cars and do all this craziness. But now that I do it, I don't do it to get awards or whatever. I just do it because I'm like, man, this is just a representation of what I want to do, and to be able to do it for Andy is fantastic. And the funnest part is that he doesn't get to see the car until that the weekend, which that takes it to a whole nother level of respect and appreciation for not only what he does, but what he you know, the confidence you put in me. So
yeah, you bring up a good point too, because, you know, for me, the host hotel, like growing up, I went to VW shows. I mean, I think I started going to VW shows when I was like 10 or 11 years old. And we had some pretty good shows in Texas. They used to hold them at the Texas Motorplex in Ennis. So we had, quarter mile racing. We had huge swap meets. We had full-on show cars. Some of the show cars would come all the way out from California. I know I saw Bean Lowry race, one time. So, I mean, we get the guys that would come out to from California to these shows. But for me, the funnest part of the entire show was always the night before. Everyone was out, detailing their cars in the parking lot of the Holiday Inn or wherever it was that we were staying. And you could just you'd had more access to like the owners, and they had time to actually sit and talk to you. And, we'd end up just, hanging out and talking cars. And that was my favorite part of One Crazy Weekend last year is, Andy and all the guys from the UK, we would all just pull up chairs next to the cars, and Andy had the stereo and his bus going. We're listening to like old school tunes, and it was so much fun. I'm so looking forward to that, but it's going to be so surreal this year because we're going to be surrounded by even more 80s cars. But you also bring a good point with, we're all kind of the same age, right? We're, all late 40s, early 50s. And that's kind of what formed us into VW enthusiasts. We grew up on VW Trends and Hobby W's magazines. I look forward to every month, seeing what new car was going to be on the cover. And, we didn't really have cars like that on the streets in Texas. You had to go to a car show to see stuff like that. So for us to be able to, live that now, obviously I was too young and I couldn't afford to build a car like AFTERSHOCK to that level when I was 12 years old. But now that I can, it's been a really, really cool journey, especially being able to partner with Steve Connect, who I have so much respect for as a car builder and look up to so much. And the fact that this is going to be the last car he ever builds, like, it's just going to be really, really special to share that with everybody else. And I hope people get it, but I think they will. It's kind of like, It's kind of like you said the other on your last show, Bill, like, George was like, it's going to be a very divisive car. People are going to love it or hate it. No matter what you think of the color choices I did or whatever else, there's no denying that the workmanship and the craftsmanship that went into this car is just next level. I mean, would people take a 1960 convertible and modify it the way we did? Probably not. But I'd also like to point out that a lot of that stuff had already been done to the car back in the 80s, so it made for the perfect vehicle to start with. But I think regardless of how people view it, I think they're going to have a lot of respect for Steve and the fact that this guy still knows how to build a badass car.
Well, I think that, with Steve being able to showcase his skill set in a modern version of what he used to do back in the day, and kind of a little bit of a throwback build to something from the 80s, and as Steve has progressively worked on more and more cars over the past 40 years, he's gotten progressively better and better and better. And all the stuff that I've seen for the car is incredible. All the custom touches are just wild. And it's just that same flair of the 80s of like no holds barred. And we've gotten stuck in that kind of like, always make it where you can turn it back into stock. And in the 80s, nobody gave a crap. Nobody's like, someone's like, who cares? You've got your own. You're doing, you can build your own 60 the way that you want it. It's funny, Dino with Dino's Get Down. I've been messaging him back and forth to get him on the podcast. He's building a 60 convertible right now, and or 59 convertible, I think it is. And he's sealed up the top of the doors. There's no windows in it, so it's kind of a roadster convertible type thing. But, kind of old school style. But again, it's more back to like the 80s vibe of like, it's your car, build it how you want and make it and personalize it to that level. And then with this project, it's more of a showcase of like what could have been of this car that was started back in the 80s. So I think that's it's like it went into a time capsule and then came out in 2025. And now it's being built in a throwback style with today's technology. So I think that's going to be the super cool part about it. So I'm looking forward to seeing all that come together. I mean, from what I've seen so far, I'm super excited to see this car and get it out there. And I think the whole element of like keeping the car completely under wraps until you show up to the show is even better, because nowadays we get so overstimulated by seeing too much stuff before it's even, like you see a car, you've seen 1,000 pictures of a car before it's done, and you're like, I've seen it. You kind of loses all its sizzle, right? So I'm looking
It
forward.
does. You know who's good at teasing too is Buddy Hale, because that Carmen Ghia that they're building, I think to debut at the Grand National Roadster Show next year, like it just got dropped off to get the interior done. I think in like Nebraska or something, and like all he's done is show it like with a car cover on it, or you know in the shop with a car cover, or in the trailer with a car cover. So it's like he's really good at building that hype over that car, and I'm really excited to see that. But I think Buddy Hale's coming to this. He's coming to One Crazy Weekend too as well, right?
Yeah, he should be here as well, man. We're having some phone troubles tonight, some phone garbling on both your guys' sides, and I think it's here in Vegas. I'm getting a little bit of that. We got, believe it or not, it's raining and a little bit of thunderstorm here in Vegas right now, but it'll be gone by morning. Yeah, so we usually don't.
That's not good.
So
I was chatting with Buddy Hale this morning. He was doing his Nebraska trip, and because you know, Buddy, I talk with Buddy pretty regularly, man. Dude, him and I just connect, and so we were talking. But I mean, just the camaraderie that like One Crazy Weekend. He was sitting there. He says, "Man, you make sure you tell your wife she's 2 shots down." So you know, there's just a whole build up for all this stuff. And Buddy built some fantastic, phenomenal stuff, and you know, to see what he's doing and breaking into the the American car world, and Bill, you know, you and I have even talked about, let's do some of these American car shows just to kind of break it up a little bit and do some different stuff. Because once you do enough stuff in NorCal, I mean, it is what it is, you know. And so that's what started getting me to come out to Vegas and go to different shows, and you know, go to the Elite and Clean, and then just, you know, these different things, and then, you know, eventually ends up, you know, going to, you know, to the to One Crazy Weekend. I love just going and seeing different cars, because if you stay in your area, you see the same old stuff over and over and over again, and it's inspiring. It's great to meet different people, different mindsets, different personalities, and just different builds. It makes it for an exciting car experience again.
Yeah. And I think we were talking earlier about like the VW Classic and the host hotel and all that stuff. But even before that, the very first show I went to was like 89 or 90, and it was the VW Jamboree, and we drove down there, like 6 of us in a minivan, and we pulled in and off the fin. They used to have it at Orange County Fairgrounds, and as you exit the 57 or the 55 freeway, the one that just goes right to Huntington Beach, you exit that freeway, and as the freeway starts coming out of the ground, there's motels down both sides. I remember us driving down past the motels, and all the motel parking lots were like, you'd see all the cars you saw in the magazine are just sitting in the parking lot. People are just hanging out in the parking lot for each one of these little dinky motels, just kind of partying and hanging out, just a bunch of people gathering around. So that was my first out-of-town show experience, was one of the early jamborees like that. And it was so cool to go out there and see it. And for me, that was like, oh, bro, this is what I got to do. I got to get my car done, come down here and hang out with these guys, because, you know, it was kind of that whole vibe. And now the cool thing about the vibe with One Crazy Weekend, it's like there's so many cars that show up that a lot of these guys drive cars to the show. And so they'll drive to Vegas. They got their car parked in a safe spot out in front with security. And it's like they get to, it's like reliving that experience. And if they've never had it, it's like the experience of being there. I mean, there's guys, the Utah guys, there's like 25 of them coming down together. I mean, it's nuts.
That's insane.
Yeah, those guys are hardcore. That's a 500-mile drive, man. You know,
that's rolling deep, son.
And you know, like, you know, Eric Allred and those guys. I mean, that guy's last year he towed his bug behind his single cab. You know what I mean? Like flat bar towed it. And I mean, it's just cool stuff like that. I mean, these guys really, they make an event out of it, man. And it's just so cool because, you know, this is one of those places where you can come to town, kind of hang out, let your hair down. If you show up and you got some plans at night, your car stays in the parking lot. Everything's cool. You don't got to stress about anything. And then, and that's why we try to keep the events spaced apart. Like, you know, everything kind of happens during the day. The poker tournament on Thursdays at 4 p.m. The bowling tournament's at 1:30 on Saturday. So it goes like 1:30 to 3. So you still have the evening to go do stuff. You know, people want to go hang out or do that. And I'm trying to work on some extra stuff for the strip cruise. So we'll see if I can pull that off. But even still, the strip cruise the way it was last year, it was, I mean, I love the way, like, breaking it up, because we're going to get broken up anyway. So breaking it up where we split the cars, a couple going, you know, further north than coming southbound, and then vice versa, to where we had cars on both sides of the strip, and then you could kind of cruise as much as you wanted. So
Yeah, that definitely made it way cooler because, I mean, we just inundated. We took over the strip. I mean, you had cars coming from the east, the west, the north, the south. It's like it was so much fun. I still look back at the reels from last year, just like the whole thing seemed like a dream. It was weird. I remember there was one moment where I was with, I was in your red chop top with the BRMs, and then Jack DiGiacomo was next to us in the Cal Dub, and we're just both looking over each other like this is so wild. Like I remember buying the magazines with your chop top on the cover, and now I'm driving this car on the strip next to another car that was in Hobby W. It was just so surreal. These young kids don't understand, I guess, like how much these cars meant to us, when we were young. I mean, we looked up to the cars, we looked up to the builders, and now we're kind of like of the generation that we're buying these cars because the guys who originally built them are getting old. They don't want them anymore. They're selling them. So like now we're the custodians and the caretakers. And I feel like if we don't keep the whole 80s scene alive, then it's just going to kind of fall by the wayside. People forget about it. And
I think it's got its, I mean, you look at Bob Daniels' page, he's got, 25, 30,000 subscribers on his, or followers on his 80s page, 80s custom VWs, the 80s and 90s. And I don't think it's got such a big staple in the VW hobby. And I think part of that was that a lot of the cars were built by the drivers. That's kind of the biggest difference with the Volkswagen scene is a lot of cars are built by the drivers. And sure, you can go nitpick anybody's car that was built in the 80s and be like, oh, it's not like this and like that. But these are kids in high school that are staying late and doing this. And, they did a color change. So instead of doing a whole color change, they got the 1 day paint job, which turned out pretty decent. But the whole jams and everything got to be Zolatoned to kind of cover up the part they couldn't afford to paint. But everybody had to get creative because they were low on cash, right? But that creativity pushed the boundaries and made people really work hard at trying to be unique. And the thing about that time of building cars, it was like, it really followed kind of the fashion of the day. Like whatever was cool, you could integrate that, the whole Oakleys, that whole vibe all together, everybody with the In-N-Out burger
100%
sticker on the back of their car, like all that. It was this cultural thing where like everything merged into the car hobby, and your car was kind of an expression of who you were, whether it was new wave or punk rock or top 40 or whatever it was, So I think that was the liberating part of it, is that you weren't really pigeonholed into like, I'm looking at Andy's car, right? Andy's car, when it went over to Joey's, has that typical quote unquote LA style, slammed Fuchs, two-tone, stock color, stock interior, and that car is nothing.
Boring.
That car,
boring.
I mean, it's a style, right? It might not be your style, but it's a style, and it's a style that a lot of people have been hammering to, and they're like, they're committed to that style, right? All OG, slammed on Fuchs. Well, now that car's got a completely different look, and like a fresh, clean, crisp type, like. Although it's done in the style, like a monochromatic style of the 80s, it's a standout. Now it's a standout car in a room full of Gias on Fuchs. You know what I mean? Yep.
I can't wait to see that car when he takes it back to the UK and it's parked next to his magenta Gia, the Dennis Hyde car. Because those cars are going to look so cool displayed together. Like they're so of the era.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
I actually told him, I said, I think you're going to like this one more than your magenta one, Andy. And I said, and you're welcome. And so at the end of the day, you build this stuff, and and that's what it's all about for. I mean, these things and building stuff all sparks memories for us, and the 80s. I mean, the 80s, we were all feral, man. Life was different.
It was.
This was my.
I didn't have a mortgage.
My escape. Yeah, building cars was my escape. But at the end of the day, a gallon of paint was $150, and you could paint your car for $300. It was a completely different world. But it's just going back in time, and that's where we all kind of share that that there's kind of like this unspoken brotherhood where we all kind of just enjoy and love these things so much that we're gonna give up our money, give up our sleep just to have fun and build this stuff, just so we can say we feel alive again. It's kind of
I think there's definitely you're right. There's definitely a psychological element to it with just the way the world is now. And it's like, I just miss, like, I have such fond memories of the 80s. And this is kind of our, no pun intended, vehicle to get back to the 80s, you know? And it's like it gives us those same feelings of, you know, BMX bikes and, you know, like being, you know, checkered vans and all that. I don't know. It's weird that, like, for instance, like the entire time that Steve and I have worked on AFTERSHOCK, like we're on a playlist of like Def Leppard and Van Halen and like all the stuff that he was listening to at Volkswagen back in the 80s when he was building these cars the first time. You know, it was just a weird moment of like going back in time, but it's like, it's almost like putting authenticity into the car because we're doing it exactly how he used to do it, you know, minus the 3D printers and the CNC machines and everything else. But it's been such a cool vibe. I think at the end of the day, we all just kind of want to go back to that time and stay there, you know, and this is the closest way we can feel that way again. It's just building cars in this style, which I love.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm a fan of a lot of different builds, and I just think, you know, what's exciting is that we're kind of going back to the tradition of like keeping a car under wraps until it's debuted at a show. And that's the fun part, right? Like everybody's so excited to let everything out of the bag, and they get online and some people may or may not get it. And then it's like someone makes some sideways comment, knock the wind out of your sails and all that kind of stuff. But it's almost like, who even cares about that? We're back here in real life, like, you know, bringing cars out and having things look cool and doing things that are unique and different, you know? So I'm pretty, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited to see the cars you're building. I know Joey's got some other extra secret he's coming out with. I think he's mentioned to me, so we'll see. I'm excited.
So how many cars are you bringing, Joey? You're obviously bringing Andy's Gia down. You have something else up your sleeve as well.
Yeah, and then I'm also bringing the Vert because the Vert's going on display. So I'm going to probably end up having to make 2 trips to Vegas to bring cars. So
I love that we're all going to have like more than one car there. It's not good enough for us to have one car. Like we're going to have multiple cars, especially Russell.
It's ridiculous. Well, he shipped them over. I had to pick up Andy's interior in Southern California at S&S Air Cooled. And Steve, you know, Steve was a great guy to deal with. And I had to go pick up his interior, and he shipped it over in Russell's cars because it's like he get it all here. And I think there were 3 cars over there. And so it's bananas, man. But it's just one of those things. This is a highlight. I mean, you know, and you just watch Andy, and, you know, he comes over here, he takes his bus, his 21 window, and he's cruising Route 66 and going to SoCal and just living he's doing all the iconic U.S. stuff, you know, and he's from England, obviously. And then to see him doing that, and that's one of my things too, is like, who's not going to want to cruise their car on the strip? I mean, that's a unique experience in itself. And so, you know, Vegas just has its own. The atmosphere is just electric, and just the things that you can do. And I mean, my hat's off to you, Bill, for putting together something that's fantastic. And I mean, I'm glad that you're doing it, and it's great to be a part of it. And you know, and any support, you know, as you know, we're all here to help do whatever we can. No,
absolutely, man. Listen, it's a team effort with me and a bunch of the people over here, my brother and the Las Vegas Volkswagen Club, and, you know, a bunch of us that just, well, you know, I think the thing is, you know, we want Vegas to get recognized for having some cool VWs, but we have the fortune of having Vegas right here. So there's only one Las Vegas Boulevard that you can cruise. And until you've cruised Vegas Boulevard, you have not cruised. And it's a different, because like I've seen the cruise they do in Reno, but it's Reno. Okay. I mean, the cruise here in Vegas Boulevard, it's like, it's more intense than Times Square. You know, it's just like, there's so much going on.
It does. Nothing compares to the Vegas Strip. Nothing at all. I mean, even when I was there, 2 or 3 weeks ago with Bad Temper, and we took Andy's 21 window bus out, like that was, you know, we were the only VW on the Strip, but it was still so cool to, like, you know, have the rag top open and all the lights reflecting off everything. Like, it's just magical.
Everywhere.
It's such a cool vibe.
Yeah. Everywhere we're going, everybody's just, instead of looking at all the lights and the distractions of the casino, they're all just looking at the bus rolling down the Strip. And then when they start seeing one Volkswagen, 2, 5, 10, then all of a sudden you just start seeing people turn their phones on and start filming stuff like, oh, look at all these Volkswagen. And it's just a cool experience. it's where I came up with the phrase curbside superstar, where I was riding with somebody one time. I think it might have been my brother-in-law. He's like, dude, every time you're driving this, like everybody's looking at you, giving you the thumbs up, all stuff. I said, bro, that's what happens. You just buckle up and become a curbside superstar, bro. Everybody's just like, oh man, all of a sudden you become this celebrity because people see the car stands out and it grabs their attention. And there's just something that makes people think like, oh man, that guy is having a good day. You know, the guy's driving that thing, you know? So yeah, I'm excited for it. It's a couple weeks away. I'm excited to see the cars, and there's plenty more cars coming out. I don't know. I think I heard today that Kid Dean may not make it. His car may not be here. So that's kind of a bummer.
That's what Bob told me. Yeah, I guess Bob's been in contact with him, and he's like, dude, I'd love to be out there, but I've been so busy with customer cars that it's probably just not going to happen, which I'm really bummed about because I was really excited. It sounded like the car was going to be kind of along the lines of like a Shockwave, you know, like a cut down type 3 mini truck vibe kind of a thing. Like I would have loved to have seen that. Right. We took a lot of styling cues from Shockwave for AFTERSHOCK, the car I'm building now. And I was so curious to see, you know, Kid Dean's take on that. But I don't know. I guess it gives us something to look forward to next year. Or there's even talk that he maybe come to the Grand National Roadster show with us, which would be cool too. So if he can finish it by then, maybe we'll see him at the GNRS in California.
Yeah. No, that's the other thing, the Grand National Roadster show coming up, you know, taking cars to that, you know, that's another thing that a lot of VW people are kind of getting into and taking Volkswagens out there and, you know, showing those things. I just was watching the Triple Crown of Hot Rodding for this year that went on, and I was watching it, and there was a black, I think it was an oval window, but, you know, that Triple Crown of Hot Rodding, you know, Buddy, I think was the first VW to be there, and now there's another VW this year, you know, so
wow.
I think it's something that that's evolving into, you know, it's the demographic, right? The people that are of that age, you know, we're all in that age where it's like you guys are building OBSs, Beetles, stuff like that, just Volkswagens and everything all together. So I'm excited to see so many of those things that are out there. So it's stoked. I'm stoked. I'm stoked the way the hobby's going, and I'm glad that the team over here in Vegas is able to get this one crazy weekend just rolling to where we can, you know, provide an opportunity for people to fall in love with going, not just a car show. Because I figured this out last time. I figured out, like, I went to this car show about a month ago. It was indoors at a hotel in a big banquet room. There's like 300 cars, maybe 200 cars there. And I went, and it was like you had to walk a half mile to the hotel. It was kind of coolish because you were inside on carpet, but not really. All the cars were just like parked in a big parking lot. And then after 30 minutes, you saw the whole show, and there was nothing else to see. And then it was just kind of like,
right,
okay, what am I doing now? You know what I mean? So
right. That's what's great about your show. It's almost like a lifestyle event or experience. Like you can come and go as you please. You know, someone may be into bowling or someone may be into poker and then also be into VWs, but like you don't have to do the poker run. You don't have to do the strip cruise. You don't have to bowl. You can just kind of come and go as you please. If you want to go to a nice restaurant on the strip, you can go do that, come back, the cars will still be there. That's what's so great about your event. And I think you really, you know, we joked about it last year, like you're making car shows great again, but like, it's so much more than a car show. It's just, it's a huge event, and you kind of pick and choose what you want to do. And, you know, we have this huge contingency coming from the UK, and I love those guys. Like, I look forward to seeing them again. Like, it's just a big party.
There's like
a 20, big 4-day party.
25 people coming from the UK. There's a couple guys are flying in from Australia. I've had people contact me from around the world that are coming to this show, and they're like, "Hey, I'm just coming." And this is a great show. This is such a great show for like the strip cruise. You won't miss out. There will be someone with a car that's got an extra seat so you can cruise a strip with them. And that's the cool part about it, right? Like VW people are VW people, man. So they're all about, hey, hop in, and I mean, I've seen so much. I mean,
worst case scenario, they jump in the limo bus, right? I mean, there's plenty of seats in there.
That's it. There's a bunch of Englishmen that are already commandeering that thing, but yeah, it's for sure. I have one of Andy's friends. He's like, "Is your friend really gonna let us drive that thing?" He's like, "Yeah, man, you can cruise that. You can cruise a limo bus." So, that's gonna be a good time. Everything's just a good time, man. I'm super stoked.
Wasn't it Buddy Hell last week that was standing up out of that, and the cops were like, sit down.
No, they were on Andy's bus.
Who was that?
They were in Andy's bus, yeah. So.
Oh, they were in Andy's bus. Oh, okay, that's so funny.
Yeah.
No, that was a blast. Well, Joey, you've been talking to Buddy. Is he actually going to take that Gia? Is that thing going to be done for the Grand National Roaster Show?
I didn't talk details on that. We were just basic catching up. We were talking about, one crazy weekend and just making sure you can make it out there. And then we talk shop once in a while, just kind of, it's always nice to have somebody that's in the same line of work and just trying to figure it all out, because there's so much stuff to balance. And,
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's just clients are just interesting. I mean, you talk about someone can't make it. I literally had conversations with my clients and says, "Hey, look, man, you guys' stuff's going to have to take a back burner for a bit because I got this stuff." And I said, at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, I'm still going to be an enthusiast. That's what gives me the passion to do what I do. And and I'll never have a business where I feel like it's all about making money and generating paper, right? I got to enjoy what I do, and I love building stuff and doing different stuff. And I like, stuff like this. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many hours I had in painting and days trying to get this car done for Andy. And man, I've loved every minute of it. And it's just, the end game is the end goal is the ultimate. And and it's just more about just getting together with everybody, and the cars are just an accessory part of that. And it's just a good cultural experience, man. The VW culture is definitely unique in that way.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I'm not looking. There's nothing I'm looking forward to more than us all having all of these cars that we've been working on for so long parked in the same spot in the parking lot. We got our chairs set up, and we can finally kick back and exhale and be like, "We did it. They're all here. They're all awesome." And now we can sit back and actually enjoy the weekend. That's the moment I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a good time for sure, man. So, before we wrap up, you guys got anything else you wanted to share? Any stuff you're working on, Joey? You wanted to share, talk about, or give any plugs to anybody for helping you out with anything?
No, man, I've been pretty much. I mean, I definitely, shout out to the sponsors, like Tory said. I mean, it's been great that they get the support that we've had. It just, because I can imagine the amount of money that it takes and just the commitment, Bill. I mean, you, George, and Las Vegas air cooled, and I mean, I see all the stuff that's coming out between your videography and everything else. It's just fantastic to see the coverage you're getting, the exposure, and just what you're putting out there. It's next level. I mean, people have some serious skills when they're putting together these videos, editing and doing all that stuff, and it doesn't go unrecognized, man. It's great to see that stuff out there.
My buddy Vegas Micah G is just killing it with the reels, man. He just
that dude's off the charts, man, with that thing. And just all these photographers, everybody, it's just been great to see their appreciation for what's going on too. I mean, without them, we wouldn't have the exposure, the potential. And at the end of the day, man, I mean this the nicest way possible. I don't build anything to win trophies or get put in magazines, but if that's the end game, hey, it's a huge honor,
Right.
Agreed. Yeah, it definitely takes a village, and we've got a great village behind us, man, for sure.
Well, guys, I'm excited. I'm going to see you guys. Some of you guys I'll see in a week or so. Some of you guys I'll see in 2 weeks. But I think I'll be seeing you guys both before the weekend of events, and I'm excited to kind of get this thing rolling, man, because there's all this anxiety of getting the show set up and ready to go, and the last minute drama and all this kind of stuff. And then on top of that, to be involved with so many other things on behind the scenes, and like I can't even start to explain it to you. My head will explode. So
yeah, it's getting close, man. It's going to be here before we know it. I'll actually probably see you next week. I'm flying into Vegas next week, so maybe we can hit up dinner or something before I fly out the next day. So.
Well, cool. Well, guys, I appreciate you for coming on, man. And let's for sure let's dig down and get to the end of this thing. And I'll be looking forward to seeing both of your guys' cars, and both of yours, Joey, and Andy's, and and also to see Steve's latest masterpiece, man. I'm super stoked about that. So if you guys are thinking about coming to One Crazy Weekend, now's your time to go book your rooms. I actually had the hotel extend the because of a little snafu they had, they've extended our room booking up until the 29th. So people can actually book right up until the 29th for rooms. So that's what they've told me. So
that's great news.
I need you guys to book them up. And we've got a lot. Pre-reg is double what it was last year, and a lot of people don't pre-register, but I want to make sure we get as many people pre-registered as possible, because I think what we were talking about this year, and the space we have holds 500. There's 500 spaces, but there's vendors and some special displays, stuff like that are going to be there. So starting, depending on what the turnout is this year, next year we may have, it may just go to pre-registration only up until we're full. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
Yeah, it's going to be good, man. It's going to be good. And if any of you guys are out there listening and it's cheap to fly to Vegas, man, come fly out to Vegas, stay at the Orleans Hotel and Casino, and you're going to be in the mix the whole time. So between bowling, poker tournament, strip cruise, and the poker run, you could find a seat in somebody's car, because there's a lot of buses at this show. So I'm looking forward to all these people that are traveling from all over to come to the event. So guys, I appreciate you too. Tory, where are you at right now?
I'm in Seattle right now.
Okay, so you're in Seattle. Joey's up in Lodi, right? Lodi area.
Yeah, Harold, Lodi, same.
Yeah. So we're going northwest from where I'm at, and we got so many people coming. So I'm excited. I'm sure you guys are excited, and we're gonna be looking to see you guys in the next couple of weeks. So I appreciate you guys for coming on, man, and I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
I can't wait, man.
Thanks for having us, Bill.
You got it, guys. Later.
You probably don't know that there's a new Volkswagen out that doesn't look like a Volkswagen.